everybody. How are you? Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Monday morning, June 14th. In case there are any Chinese people out there, happy Dragon Boat Festival. Today is the Dragon Boat Festival. We are supposed to eat the wrapped rice thing, the little 粽子. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that for this evening. There is not much festivity here in the US due to the COVID, but in the past, pre-COVID, we have people that race dragon boats around, and we can go watch. But I thank you for deciding to spend the next 3 hours with me. My name is Brian Chen. I am the president-elect of the association this year. That means I will be your 2022 president of the Western Gable Valley Realtors. And I'm a certified zipForm trainer, and I've been teaching zipForm for the past, I forgot how many years. Anyway, quite a few years. And my job is to introduce to you the basic functions of zipForm. And in the meantime, your flyer mentioned about 6 basic functions. I'm going to show you a little bit more today. And because there is another very useful feature I think you guys need to know, including how to use templates to set up your zipForm so that you don't miss any forms that you need, and also how to add photos to your AVID, Agent Visual Inspection Disclosure, and if you have addendum that talk about furnitures that is included in the sale that the seller is supposed to leave behind. I always, encourage my agents to add photos of the furniture items so that we can avoid dispute later on at closing. Okay, so adding photo feature is a very, very useful features for realtors. And I'd like to show you how to add photos, because many, believe it or not, 90% of the agents out there have never even used add photo function. And I was not even talked about adding photos when I was receiving my zipForm training from CAR as a certified zipForm trainer. I just so happened to see it. I decided to play with it. And wow, I said, wow, that's a very good function. So I wanted to add to my curriculum so I can share with you. I think as realtors, if you use add photo, you can avoid quite a number of disputes. For example, if refrigerators is included in your contract, you should take a photo of the refrigerator and put it in your addendum. Because I have heard of controversies where the seller agreed to have refrigerator as part of the sale, but at the end, the seller took the beautiful, huge, nice, expensive refrigerator and put in a 21 cubic feet basic function refrigerator that they bought at a used secondhand store. And buyer get very upset, and because there was no photo of the refrigerator, it's very difficult to prove which refrigerator was agreed to. So adding photos is so important. Okay. So without further ado, I will begin today's class. And right now we have 43 people. That means without minus Fang and I, that means only 41 people. We had 99 people signed up. So I have no idea what's going on was the people who signed up. But if they signed up and they don't show up, it's okay. It's their loss and your gain. Their loss is your gain. So I will begin today's class. First of all, you are seeing the screen on my Internet Explorer or Safari, correct? Fine. Are you
Yes.
guys all seeing
Yes.
the screen? Okay. And as I click on a new screen, okay. As I click on new screen, why is my screen not changing? Hold on, I have to move these bars. Okay, I'll move it to the bottom. That's why. Okay, so now I'm gonna take you to how you will access zipForm. There's two ways to access the zipForm. I will go to the association website. You see the association website. I always like to start my page at association website because it contains a lot of good information about the association, and you can access the MLS login. You see right here on the upper right hand corner, MLS login. I have to wiggle the arrow in order to make it bigger. So that way I do it so that you guys can see a larger arrow. It's not I try to cause you dizziness, but if I only point to here, you don't see a big arrow. So I guess I assume that you are seeing the huge arrow, right? That the one I'm wiggling around. So you see here it says zipForm login. If you click on the zipForm login from the association website, it takes you to the zipForm sign-in function, and you can sign in from the zipForm from here. So the step was you go to www.wsgvr.com, get to the association website, and while you're at the website, there are many important information that you can check out. For example, education schedule. If you need forms, association related forms are here, so you can actually access. Okay, and then if you want to go to the MLS, you click on MLS login. If you want to go to zipForm, you go to zipForm login, and it takes you down to this page for you to log in. So it's a good function, okay? But let me right now, I want to also go to another way to, hold on, let me go in and log out. I want to show you another way to log in, okay? Let me sign out. So I'm completely out. I am completely out. Okay, good. So there is another way besides going to the Western Gabriel website. You can open a new tab and you can access it going to the CAR website. So you go to www.car.org and you come to this page. Sorry. And then they locked me. They did not. Okay, let me sign out. Okay, you come into this page. You can either click right here and it will take you to this page, and you click access zipForm, and then it will take you to the same login page. Or you go back. When you come in here, you can actually sign directly into the CAR CAR account. And if you do sign in there, you'll see your name appear on the upper right-hand corner, like right here, okay? Then you can also access important information about the industry, going to the industry 360, and you have data and statistics. You can get housing information, housing price statistics information. These are all very good market data that you can access. So I want you to think of the CAR website as more than just a way to access your zip form, okay? It is a more than just a way to access your zip form. So now let's go to, let me log out again. So let me review how you get here. Let me close out this tab. You're at your internet. You can either go to the Western Gabriel or you go to www.car.org to get to this website. Then you sign in as a member, okay? And if you sign in as a member, your name appears here. That means you're already signed in. And then you can also click here, go to the transaction zip form edition, click access zip form, and that will take you to your zip form software. Now, many agents change companies, and when they change companies, they do go to the association and change office. There's a form that you say, I'm no longer with Century 21, I'm now with Keller Williams. Okay, there's a form you filled out, your broker sign it, and you turn it into the association staff. They'll switch you to the new company. However, your zip form does not change. Association staff cannot change your zip form's company information for you. You have to do it. This is the way the system is designed. Why is the system designed this way? That is because association works Monday through Friday, does not work on weekends. Yet we have agents working 24/7, right? 7 days a week. So maybe this agent is changing office Friday afternoon, but the information coming from the association going to NAR and then go to CAR may take a couple of days. But if you change an office Friday afternoon, and at Friday evening, if you're writing up a new offer, don't you think that offer needs to be written with your new company information so that it won't get confused and your old company is trying to claim commission from you and your new company is arguing, hey, he joined us at 5:30 or 6 o'clock on Friday afternoon. He wrote up the offer at Friday evening, 10 o'clock. That belongs to Keller Williams. And then your Century 21 says, no, look at the zip form. It clearly says our new company, our old company information, okay, on the bottom. So this is where you need to go. New agents, okay, when you change companies, you go to either click on the photo. I don't have my photo uploaded because I don't want people to see my old face. And or you can click the me, okay, you click the me. That is the same thing as you click on the photo. That's all about you. You go down here to profiles and settings. Profiles and settings. You click on that, you see the menu change. It says about me. This is where you go to if you change your email address, if you change your cell phone, okay, information, okay. This is about me. Offices, you see that? The third tab to the right. Offices, that's where you change your company info. You can change it. The moment you switch office, you sign a new contract with a new office, while the association is catching up with the office information for the CRMLS rosters. For zipForms, the association cannot change. You, the agent, need to come here and change your new company information right away. Okay, this is so that the minute you change a new company, the next minute, if you want to write up an offer or sign up a listing, you can change your new company information and your business will not stop to wait for association. Because many people do switch office, maybe on weekends, Friday night, Saturday morning, okay? So, but the association office is closed, but your change is effective the moment you sign the new contract. So you need to, zipForm is designed for you to be able to conduct your business without having to wait. That's why you have control of what company information you put down here. Okay, that's first thing, and that's not on your curriculum today, but I do get a lot of, as a broker, I see my new agents writing up offers and on the bottom still have their old office information. Then I know a lot of agents don't know where to change. I even have agents who have joined my company for over a year and they write a new offer, it still have the old office information. So I asked the agent, you never changed your information? Oh yeah, I changed it. I went to the association. I said, no, did you change it on zipForm? Where? I don't know. Agents didn't know. Okay. But now you know where you can do to change. Every time you change your information, you must click on save. Do not just click close. If you don't click on save, the new information is not saved. You still go back to your old information. So you got to click on save to save it, okay? And also, I want you to go to the settings. Some people says, because your zipForm setting up by CAR is default, automatically go to Digital Ink 2.0 now. Nowadays, it is automatically set up to go to Digital Ink 2.0. We do have people says, I signed up for a DocuSign account, but somehow my zipForm is not accessing my DocuSign account. If you go to the settings, you can change to DocuSign. When you change the DocuSign, you got to also input in your DocuSign account username and password, and then click on save. Okay, click on save. I don't use DocuSign because DocuSign costs money, and Brian Chen is cheap. I use free. So whenever there's a free solution, I use it. Digital Ink is part of the zipForm function, so it's come to use free. But many people, they like using DocuSign, and that's fine. It is okay for you to use DocuSign. The Digital Ink 1.0 was the old e-signature offered by zipForm, but zipForm has upgraded to 2.0, which is powered by a different company. The company is called AuthentiSign. It is different company than Signex. Okay, so Digital Ink 2.0 is using Authentic Sign e-signature system. Okay, and don't forget to change your time zone. You can change your time zone: Atlantic time, Central time, Eastern time, Mountain time, Pacific time, Alaskan time, Hawaii time, and General Mountain time. Okay, please, we are in California. We are using the Pacific time zone. It is very important for you to set the right time zone, because when you set up your e-signature, your documents, everything is timed, date and timed. So you must make sure you are in the right time zone. Okay, I have agents who use DocuSign, and they set up their time zone because DocuSign, I guess they use it worldwide. They have the time set up like when they're in China, they're using China time. The problem is China time is 16 hours ahead. Actually, now it's 15 hours because we're in the summer daylight savings time. It is 15 hours ahead of our time zone. So you may get some problems with the timing of people signing. Remember, real estate is rely heavily on dates and times, dates and times. Especially when you try to cancel, you give a notice to perform, the clock start counting. Okay, so you must make sure you are in the right time zone when you have people e-sign documents. Okay, because if you have a seller that's in China and you'd have them DocuSign and they signed it and you're issuing your notice of to perform today on a Monday, and yet your seller signed it and using their local time, which is Tuesday, okay, Tuesday morning or whatever, then what? When you get ready to cancel, your buyer may come back and say, no, your seller gave me notice on Tuesday, and therefore I get 1 extra day. So, timing is very, very important. So you got to make sure, okay? So, I didn't change anything, so I can close. Remember, whatever you changed, whenever you change information, you got to click on save before you exit, okay? Now I'm back to my homepage. You can select your homepage. Let me go to where you select the homepage. Again, profile settings. If I go to profile settings, I go to no, I go to right at the bottom, you see landing screen. Landing screen, you have, that's at where you set up your, you do the settings. Your landing screen is where you sign in. When you sign into zipForm, where do you go immediately? Okay, I have a transaction list. You see that? That's why you see when I log into zipForm, it goes to my transactions list. Some people like it to go to the dashboard. So if you change to the dashboard, okay, and you save, okay, and then when you go back, let me log out. Let me go to my, let me go and go back in. I go here and it signed me into my zipForm. I say continue. It is now in my, I changed to a different sign-in page. I changed to a different sign-in page, right? It goes right to my, whatchamacallit, what is, I always forget that name. But anyway, it's, you have two choices. You can either go direct or dashboard. You can either go to your dashboard when you sign in, or you can go to your transactions when you sign in. I like to go right to my transactions because when I access my zipForm, I want to go right in to start using it. I don't want to go to my dashboard. I want to go into my transactions, okay? So let me make a note of what I've covered. Okay, good. Now, you see right here, you have dashboard, forms, transactions, templates. Templates are very, very effective way to save you on making new offers, okay? Because if you save your templates, whenever you open up a new transaction and you import the templates into that new transaction, You have all of your forms already pre-selected. All of your repetitive typing is pre-typed in. What do I mean by repetitive typing? As you know, when you make offers, there are areas where you keep on typing in the same information each time if you start from scratch. Well, templates allow you to pre-type in those informations for you so that you don't have to change it every time. So the next time when you open up a new transaction to write offers, okay, each offer you write, you should save it as a brand new transaction. I have seen people just using forms and their desktop is not organized into a folder like a transaction. Their desktop is just full of forms. And then later on, when they try to get to their document, they don't know which form because they're all called the same form and they don't remember, okay? So you have to learn to organize your zipForm folder, okay? To create a transaction, you give that transaction a unique name. I usually use the property address or whatever. If I'm only doing an e-signature, I'm using this and like my client's e-sign just for that, okay? I organize it differently, okay? So now let's go to templates. Let me show you the template function. The template, you can see that I already set up quite a number of templates. Okay, you also see checklist. I'll show you what checklists do. Okay, it is very interesting, very good feature to have. Okay, now you can set up your templates. Let me do a demo template. Click new. And let's do a new purchase template. It is a residential. I name my templates unique name so I can come back to find it. So I will do one that said demo. Okay. Residential 30 days. Okay. Demo residential 30. Okay. So that is for residential purchase. You see the select templates? I will talk about that later on for you. I will show you how you can use another template to set up a new template to save you even more times. Okay, and I will say single family, residential, I'll do this, SFR. Single family, 30 days, because I want to distinguish that later on with condo, okay? So right now, I'm going to show you how you set up a standard single family residence home for purchase. So you go save, you will come into the document page. You need to select your documents, okay? So now you are in the demo single family 30-day templates. And there is no form selected. You need to start selecting your forms. So whenever you do a residential purchase agreement a template, what do you need? As a sales person, sales transaction representing the buyer, what form do you always need? You need a residential purchase agreement, correct? Then you think, as a representative of a buyer, what's the next form I need to use? Well, you write offers, obviously buyer counter offer, right? So the next thing is buyer counter offer. So you may have buyer counter offer because seller will counter you, and if you want to counter back, you need the buyer counter offer. Next, hopefully, if you get accepted, what other forms do you need? Well, the next one is probably negotiating after inspection and after my buyer reviewed all the disclosures they want to continue on, and based on the inspection report, the buyer may request some repair items from the seller, right? So the next item should be, you can either scroll down alphabetically or there's a shortcut. request for repairs. So you say request, okay? You see that? You type in request, you see the menu change? Request for repairs is right here, okay? Or there's another even quicker way. As you get more familiar with the forms, you start memorizing, you start remembering the forms by its initials. So if I go back here, nothing is written. I start with the beginning, right? I go RR. It goes right to request. Why? Request for repair, the form is RR. Okay? So you can, so after request for repairs, what do you have? You have contingency removal, correct? So you have contingency removal. So you can either do contingency removal, and you usually have more than just one, usually minimum two, right? Your 17-day and your removal of all, that including loans and everything, okay? So minimally, we usually have two. Then after that, you think to yourself, after contingency removal and the buyer get their loan done, and before they sign loan docs, what do we have to do? We have to do the verification of property condition, right? So you come here and you go to the forms. You can type in verification. Okay, verification of property, right? Condition. Or if you like me, I just say VP. Come right to the form. That's the form, VP. That's the initial. Then after that, we have good things, right? But every once in a while, we may have an occasion, hopefully never happens. We may have to have a notice for seller to perform. For example, the seller has 7 days to deliver the disclosures. What happens if they did not deliver? You need to send a notice to the seller, NSP, notice for seller to perform, right here, notice to seller to perform. And as listing agents, you may have to do NBP, notice to buyer to perform, correct? So basically, in a normal transaction, if you represent the buyer, these are the minimum set of documents that you may be using, okay? Okay, good. Now, you are in the template mode. Remember, you are in a template mode. Now is where you go to save time for the future by typing in repetitive typings that you don't want to repeat ever again. You are still in the template mode, okay? You use the form. You got to keep a very clear mind of where you are at, because you're in the template. Whatever you type stays within the template, okay? Whatever you type stay within the template. So the first thing is you represent the buyer, so your thing is with buyer, correct? And your agent, your company name is always going to be your company name. Pinnacle Real Estate Group, okay? Hey. Okay, Pinnacle Real Estate Group. And the broker's license number, oops. You need to be in that field. Okay, that's your broker's license number. And then salesperson's, okay, salesperson license number. Okay, that's your first entry. Okay, something, a glitch. Why is the sellers filled in? There's always some glitch happening. I don't understand. But anyway, let me remove that so there will be no seller's agent information, okay? Because I represent the buyer. Okay, now let's go down to your most important document, which is the purchase agreement. Whatever you always type repetitively, you can type in here and you don't have to type again later. So remember, I named it single family 30 days. That means I'm buying a house with no HOA and it's a 30-day escrow. So I always type in here 30, right? And then I don't type anything else here, but in the first TD loan, I probably will limit the loan origination fee to 1%, okay? And then I go down to whatever I normally type in. For example, this is the NHD, right? I always get a request an environmental, and then we type in seller choice, okay? And then the next thing is termite report. I type in you can type in termite report, okay? Or you can use the formal name, wood destroying pest report, wood destroying pest inspection report, whatever to make your communication clear. I like to add one more thing. So my offer will say termite report and completion of all section 1 work. Seller pays for that. And then the buyer pays for what? Physical, seller pays, and then because seller pays, I let them choose seller's choice. Okay, and then I go to the physical inspection report. Okay, and pay for by this buyer because that's the buyer's doing. And then you have government required and retrofit. So the first thing is 7B1. Seller pay for smoke alarm and carbon monoxide. So seller always pay that. That's required by law. So 7B1 is seller. 7B2 is where you need to be a little bit careful. It says seller shall pay for the cost of compliance with any other minimum mandatory government inspections. So what does that mean? If you have a city that requires inspection before you can transfer title, such as city of Los Angeles or city of Pasadena or city of El Monte or city of San Marino. Okay, so there are some cities that requires that. So you can do this, you can check this, okay? You can either leave the 7B2II blank, or if you just want to be sure, you check that too. If you check that too, if you check the B2II, that means if the government require any retrofit, the seller has to pay for it. You will get a very experienced listing agent counter you back on 7B2II, says remove that. Or if the city that the property is located does not require city inspection, none whatsoever, they may just simply say 7B2, paragraph 7B2, that's this big paragraph, include I and II and III, all removed, okay? That's fine. But as buyer's agent, you start out with maximum protection for the buyer. Then you come down here, buyer and seller. I see many agents put in 50-50. That is wrong. You do not put in 50-50. You pay, you click buyer and seller each to pay for their own escrow fees or own respective, whatever, but they are never the same. Okay, so I type in buyer and seller each to pay their own escrow fees, okay? Because buyer fees are different than seller's fees. For many incidences, this is true, okay? Escrow holder, do you have a favorite escrow? You can name your escrow company, or because we're in a seller's market and you don't want to upset the seller, you give the seller's choice on that, okay? And title, title, seller pays for owner's policy, also. When it comes to the buyer's market, a lot of time buyer want to be in control, okay? Depending on the market condition. You represent the buyer. You need to explain to your buyer this sentence right here. Oops. This sentence. Buyer shall pay for any title insurance buyer's lender may require. Okay, if your buyer is getting a loan, you need to let your buyer know. Seller will buy the owner's policy, but you, the borrower, need to buy the lender's policy. Okay, if you don't explain that to your buyer, the first time buyers don't understand it. They think the seller should be paying for it, and they get into disputes. Okay. County transfer tax, sellers pay. Because this is a single family, there is no HOA involved. So you leave everything about HOA be, blank. And then if you want to request a seller to provide a home warranty, okay, and you can put in a maximum limit. And I always put air conditioning because it depends. Most of the homes now have air conditioner, but not every home have pool and spa. Okay, so leave the pool and spa alone. Okay, I like to use the upgraded policy. It gives a little bit, it may cost maybe $50 more, but it gives more coverage. Okay, with $600, you probably have enough money for a roof coverage. Okay, roof coverage. Okay, then you go down further. I always check all stove. Paragraph 8 is a very important paragraph. Both buyer and seller, you as agents need to go over the paragraph 8 with your clients carefully. It explains what stays, what can go, okay, and items that's included and not included. So most of the time, I want the stove to stay, but I may not always want the refrigerator because most of the time seller will take the refrigerator. So remember, we're in the template mode. We're typing in what applies to the most of the transactions with the, not specific, but general, okay, but general. Okay, so I may have one like that and seller's brokerage. Okay, my email. And I know what happened. It asked me for autofill and I type in autofill. That's stupid. I should never, that teach you something. You should never just say yes for autofill. That's a new feature they just added. I did not have that kind of question come up, so I didn't understand it. My company address. Okay, company address. Okay. That's my offer. The way I filled out my offer is pretty similar each and every time. So I don't make changes. That's how I write up an offer for my RPA. Okay, so that's pretty much what I do, and I save it. Okay, I save it. It says saved, and I go back to the list. I go back to the list. I go back to the list. This is my template for 30 days. Okay, I go back to the list. Now you will have hold on. The internet connection is slow. Okay, now you will have a demo for 30 days. Now, let me show you something else very quickly. I now want to show you how to use a template within another template to save even more time. So now I want to say, I want to create a new one. So I create a new one, purchase. Okay, what do I call that? How about demo? Okay, because I'm doing demo. You don't have to name your transaction starting with demo. Okay, how about condo or PUD? Okay, condo slash PUD. Okay, condo slash PUD. Also 30 days. Residential. Okay, here you see the my templates. Watch. If I select personal demo, the one I just created, and I say save, watch what happens. Now I'm in here. You notice all the forms I previously selected was that template is already pre-selected. And everything that I typed with that template is already in here. I don't have to type it again. I don't, and I save time. Okay, I save a lot of time. And then 30, everything is all pre-filled in. Oh, by the way, sorry, I forgot to tell you, you have to select who you represent, okay? So save that. And then I don't have to retype in again. But over here, this is a condo, has HOA, correct? Seller pays for the homeowner association transfer fee. Seller pays for preparing documents, HOA, okay? So that's your basic templates. That's your basic template for condo or PUD. I'm done. You see how fast it is? It saved me time. So I need to go in there and I forgot to select. I was talking and I forgot to select who I represent. I represent by, oh, okay, it already selected that for me. Okay, good. This is how you use templates. Let me do a quick offer writing using the templates. Before the class, I already selected a listing. Okay, I already selected a listing. And you can hopefully when you write up offer, you already know which property and you know the listing information. And don't forget, you need to do one thing. Click on the tax ID, which is the APN number, okay? And to find out the seller's correct names. You should not write an offer without seller's name. Always have the seller's name, okay? So now let me go to my transactions. I am now in my transactions. I want to create a brand new offer. Brand new offer. When you use a template to create your brand new offer, this is how fast it can be done. I go to new purchase agreement, correct? I make a new offer, purchase agreement, and I write in the new address, the property address, 852. Monrovia, California. Something is not right. Okay. 852 Monrovia. This is not right. Okay. I want to do MLS Connect. This is where it can save you even more typing. Okay. You use MLS Connect. You click on MLS Connect. And then it will say, what is the listing number? The listing number I have is WS 210811357. Include property photo and find. I want to make sure it's finding the right one. Okay, that's the property. Yes, listing. And then my templates. Go to my templates. I select which template. What did I just create? Demo 30. Demo 30. Okay. Now, and I say save. Watch. I go to my documents and I go to my purchase agreement. Look at this. The property address, the zip code, the APN, the listing company, and the listing agent information is already here. Notice I did not type it. I just used the MLS Connect. It automatically input for me. That saved me more time, correct? Then I just need to type in what? I type in my buyer's name. Okay, demo buyer. I just do one. Today's date. Okay, notice I click, they represent the seller. Oh, by the way, because this is my own company's listing, I have to type in both because the listing agent is Jennifer Tan, from Pinnacle Real Estate Group. Okay. And the buyer's agent is Brian Chen. Okay. From Pinnacle. So we have to do both. Okay. If this is a different company, then the listing company represents the seller, the buyer's company, the buyer's agent company represents the buyer. But because these are both the same company, you are dual agents. Okay. So that's pretty much my offer. However, there's one important thing. The list price on this property is $899,900. So what do I want to offer? Maybe I want to offer $890,000. Okay, $890,000. Then I need to put in the deposit. What is 3%? $26,700. Okay, $26,700. And maybe I'm getting a loan. This is not an all cash offer. Maybe I'm getting a loan. So how much am I getting a loan for? Maybe I'm getting a loan for 500,000. I'm sorry. Click 500,000. So what is the balance I need to bring in to close? 363,000. I put in 26,000. Okay. So notice I just type in here. The next item I need to type in is the seller's name. Where does the seller's name appear in a purchase agreement? Seller's name appears on page 10. So page 10, seller. Okay, the seller is Wei Lu Liang. Okay, that's the seller's name. Where do I get that? On your listing, you click on the APN, you can get the seller's name, correct seller's name. Okay, so that's done. My offer is completed. So if I use a template, I save a lot of typing. Why? I use a template and I use MLS Connect to import all the listing information. So the property address is all here. You see that? I didn't have to type it in. The property address is already imported for me, and the listing agent's information is imported for me. I don't have to type in. And because I use a template, all the other normal stuff that I type in is all pre-typed in. All I need to worry about is entering the buyer's name, the offer price, the deposit, okay, the deposit, initial deposit, and the loan amount. And you may want to limit, for example, if you have a loan pre-approval letter that says your buyer is getting a loan for 3%, you may want to put in a not to exceed limit to protect your buyer. But be careful, okay? Be careful. If you put the limit too low, your listing agent is not going to consider this as a serious offer. So it's up to you. It's up to you. I'm teaching general classes. So if I'm teaching my agents, I will tell them what to put here. But we're doing a general class. You have to do what your broker is telling you, okay? So that's basically how fast I can write up an offer. That's basically how fast I can write up an offer by doing templates and doing MLS Connect with templates, okay? That's how we set up. Now, when you're in a transaction, you see you have the option for forms, correct? You also have an option for checklist. The checklist is almost like a list of tasks that you must complete within a transaction. The list of tasks you need to create a checklist. So you can either create a new one right here, okay, by saving something, naming a task, and do a relative date. Most of our task is all relative to acceptance date. So you can do however many days, like 3 days. You can say 3 days after, okay, after the offer acceptance date. Required, yes. And who is it assigned? You must have it assigned. Like most of the time is a selling agent. And notify required party, yes. 3 days. What is due within 3 days? What is due within 3 days? Name your task. Initial deposit due, right? So this system will then send me an email to remind me to contact my buyer about initial deposit becoming due. You can save that, okay? You can save that. Now, I don't want to save it. Why? I want to show you. Go to the dashboard. Go to the dashboard. Oh, come on. Dashboard. Okay. Go to the dashboard and you go to your transaction. You go to your transaction. Okay. You're in the dashboard of a transaction. You can actually add a checklist into your task. Okay, you can add your saved checklist. Same thing, you can save a checklist. You can save checklist by saying create a new one, okay? Or you can implement a task that you already saved from before. So you can create a task one by one, or you can import a checklist that you already saved. So it's up to you. Play with it. If you ever wonder about how to set up a checklist, please go to YouTube and say, creating checklist in zipForm. Your YouTube has a lot of video already pre-recorded. I'm not going to go through the time because we don't have that much time here today to show you. We only have 3 hours. And just on one document, RPA, and showing you the templates, I already used up 38 minutes. Okay, right now it's 10:40. So I want to go on to the next item. So do check your checklist. I also created, I go back, I go to templates. You will notice I do already created a 30 days sales checklist. 30 days sales checklist. Okay, so you can create templates, not just on templates, but also on checklist. Okay. I'm supposed to show you some toolbar functions. So I want to take you back to your transaction. To your transaction, you're now in a transactions list. There is a transaction tools. Transaction tools. There is some very good features in here, like Forms Advisor and Forms Tutor. Forms Advisor and Forms Tutor. What are those? You may go to your broker and ask for a forms list, a required forms list for your transaction. And then you will know what forms you need. But just in case you don't know how to fill out, okay, a form, a particular form, If you don't know how to fill out a particular form, you can get a tutor, Forms Tutor. You click on Forms Tutor, it takes you to a website, CAR website. It says Forms Advisor and Forms Tutor. You click on Forms Tutor, welcome to Forms Tutor. And here are a list of forms that you can get advice on how to fill out. For example, BIW, Buyer Inspection Waiver. This is a very important form that most agents never use. If you work for my company, you know I require BIW whenever a buyer decided not to do a physical inspection or termite report. So what do you need to do? You can come to the forms inspection waiver, and you don't know how to use it. You see this radio button? You click on it, you can read about it. And if you don't want to read, you can even listen to someone who explained this form to you. Listen carefully. I can't share sounds, guys, so sorry about that. But here is where you go, and you can check on any of the documents that they have available here. Okay, you can display 100 per page, and then you can see all the forms that they have, and then you can go to any, like statewide buyers. If you don't know what this form is about or how to use it, you can click on here, you can read about it, and hopefully with your computer at home, somehow you can play and it will have the sound. I don't know what happens to the sound. You know, ever since they changed over to the new vendor, you know, the zipForm is not fully integrated correctly. Just like when I was doing the templates, somehow it had a glitch. You know, we switched from CAR vendor to the Wolf, a new vendor, okay? And ever since then, we have been experiencing system glitches. So that's the Wolf transaction. Okay, so I don't know what to say, except I'm sorry. Somehow the sound doesn't play. I have no idea. And maybe, Fong, do you have access to zipForm yourself?
I think so. I
Maybe
will have to.
play
I don't
locally.
use it often, so I will have to check passwords and all.
Yeah, but if you can, I'll ask Albert to see if he can play sounds from his laptop.
I think so because I see Katie in chat saying she could play it.
Oh, so it's, oh, I might, okay. Let me not use Safari. Let me log out of zipForm again. Let me shut down my Safari. Let me use another browser. It could be a browser issue. Let me shut down my Safari, quit Safari. And then I go to Forms Tutor. You guys are seeing the screen change to Forms Tutor, right?
Yes.
Good. Let me go to AVID.
Page 1 specifies the agent's legal obligation, as well as that of the buyer of the property.
Can you guys hear now?
Page 1 also clarifies,
Yes,
for a buyer, the limits of the agent's legal duty, as well.
So I cannot use Safari, but I can use Firefox. So this is why all of you should have a few internet browser selections. I never had problem like that before. With Safari, I can play, but not with this. I don't know why. Okay, so I'm glad misery solved. So this is how you use Forms Tutor. Okay, it teaches you, it explains what the form is about and how to use it. Okay, so it is a very useful feature. You guys seeing my dashboard again?
Yes, we're good.
Okay, now I'm back to the dashboard. I'm back to my documents. There is another transaction tool called Forms Advisor. Forms Advisor, same thing. You go to your list, you go to transaction tools, Forms Advisor, same thing. The only problem, the only difference with using Forms Advisor, you guys seeing this? You have to tell it, I'm doing a purchase. I am a buyer representative. I'm a buyer representative. And then you see all these tabs. These are questions. You guys are seeing the screen, right?
Yes.
You see me, it talks about you. It talks about the property, whether or not the property is under 300,000 or greater, okay? And you have to answer all these questions. It talks about your client, whether or not they're individual or they are corporation or whatever, or they are trust. It talks about the transaction. You need to answer yes or no, and then summary. And at the end, you can get to a summary and it will tell you, but I did not answer these questions, so I did not save. Each time you answer a page, okay, you have to say accept selected items, okay? So if I just go and select and accept, I don't know what's answered because I am not looking at it, and then accept, and then it comes to the summary. I accept, name it demo. June 14th. Okay. Based on whatever the answer I provided, it now will give me recommendations. Here is the list of the 27 forms. Based on my previous answer, it says to do your transaction, you need to have these forms. Okay, to do your transaction, you need to have this forms. Okay, so this is Forms Advisor. So if your company does not tell you what forms to use with what kind of transactions, at least you have a place where zipForm has a Forms Advisor to tell you you need all these forms in your transaction to have a complete transaction. Okay, so you answer 1, 2, 3, 4 screens of questions and answers. Then you go to the fifth screen and you accept your selections, and then you click on get recommended forms. Get recommended forms, and then you'll have all these forms. They'll tell you you need to have all these forms. Okay, that's what Forms Advisor is. It's a very useful tool for you if you don't know what forms you need for a particular kind of transaction. Okay, there is another toolbar function I really want to show you because I think it's really useful. Close this. Let me go to transaction tools. You see this mortgage calculator. This mortgage calculator is very, very useful. For example, if I say I have a loan amount of 500,000, okay, interest rate, that's say 3.25, okay, it is for how many months? 360 months, okay. It tells you your loan payment, but then your insurance, for example, your insurance, you enter yearly. Say my insurance cost me $2,500 a year. It calculates monthly. And then property tax. What did I say? My offer was 890,000. Okay, so I use a calculator, 890,000 times 1.25% is 11,125. 11,125. That's my property tax annual. Okay, And then there is no mortgage insurance, no other loan insurance. So that's our principal, interest, tax, and insurance. You hear people say, what is my PITI? My PITI is 3311.44. My monthly payment is 2,176.03. That's my monthly payment. But my monthly PITI is $3,311.44. This is my monthly housing related expense. So what is my property tax and homeowner insurance per month? That's $1,135. So if you use 2176.03 plus 1135.41, that's your PITI, 3311.44. Now, the next feature I'm going to show you is very useful for you to give to your client. Right now, we're in June. If we're going to close this escrow in June, the first payment is not July 1st. The first payment is August 1st. So you go to here, you go August. First payment, you see the bottom, August 2021. And then you say display table. You display the table. It gives you a table of 300 up to 360 payments, 30 years. It tells you your each month, okay? Your starting payment is August, okay? Starting on August. So your payment, each payment amount, okay? Each payment amount, July. Display table. August 1st payment. Your August 1st payment, principal is this amount, interest is this amount, okay? And then that's, you keep on going. That's how your, how much the principal reduction and interest payment, your total monthly payments stays the same for 30 years, okay? You can actually print this out to your client, but you have to tell your client, this calculator is assuming your payment reaches the bank on the first day of each month. In other words, August payment, the bank receive your payment August 1st. If you make a payment on August 10th, there will be 10 more days of daily interest. You think about it. If you're paying 1,354, divide by 30, that's your daily interest. So if you pay your payment on the 10th, you add 10 more days to the interest, okay? So you got to remember all that. So, but this at least give your client an idea of how the payment is amortized over the entire 30 years, over the entire 30 years. So this is the mortgage calculator for real estate professionals that you can actually print it out and give it to your client. You can print it out and give it to your client. Just remember, if your escrow is closing on or before June 30th, your first payment day is never July 1st. Your first payment day is always 30 days out, because in real estate, on your August payment, you're paying for interest from July 1st to July 31st. Your interests are paid in arrears. That means you pay the interest at the end of the period. So August, you're paying for July 1st to July 31st interest, okay? Your payment is always 1 month behind, okay? That's basically your mortgage calculator function. You can print it out. That's your printout. Okay, you can print it out on a computer, 11 pages, and give it to your client. Next, let me mark where I'm at. I've done the calculator. I done the forms tutor, forms advisor, templates. Okay, toolbar function. Now, I want to spend a little time with you on how to do a proper AVID. I see a lot of AVID that is done improperly, and I want to spend a little time. This is extra bonus item that I want to share with you because I think AVID is very, very important. Think about it. As a buyer's representative, every disclosure is coming from the seller. Every disclosure is coming from the seller and the listing agent. The AVID, okay? The AVID, I didn't select that in my templates. Ah, stupid me. I'm sorry. During the template selection, you should select AVID, but it's okay. I can always add it. In your AVID, this is the only disclosure a buyer's representative gives to the buyer. So you must do a good job, thoroughly good job. Remember, this is your client, okay? You must tell your client everything that you see with the property. So first thing first, the firm who is doing it. First page is the property address and who is doing it. Inspection performed by your company, okay? Company name. And then the inspection date. I pretend that I'm doing it today, and the time right now is 11:15 a.m. Weather condition is sunny and clear, okay? You got to state the weather condition. If it's raining, you say it's raining. If it's cloudy, it's cloudy. If it's foggy, you say foggy, okay? Who is there at the property when you're doing the physical, when you're doing your AVID? Well, probably your buyer is there. Buyer number one, right? Buyer number one is there. And Brian Chen, I'm here. I'm doing it. So Brian Chen is here. And also inspector, best inspection. Okay. Maybe the listing agent is there. Or maybe the listing agent is not there, but the seller, okay, number one is there. Okay, seller is there. Okay. So you do your everything from the beginning. And what you do, remember your visual inspection is everything you can see with your eyes. Everything you can see with your eyes. That means on the walls, on the floor, on the ceiling, on the window. If there's curtain, you operate the curtain to make sure they open and close properly. If there's windows, you must check the windows that they can open and close and lock properly. Look on the window glass, window panes to make sure there's no crack or broken. Look for window screens. If there's no window screens, say no window screens, okay? If it's a double pane glass window, it's a double pane glass window. If there's small cracks, say small cracks on the window, okay? You must say everything that you see. So let me just quickly do one that's very simple. Entry, no, anytime you see something and you did not see any imperfections, no visual defect noted. Remember to put this down, because if you ever been cross-examined by an attorney and you just simply leave it blank by saying nothing, or even just say nothing. I've seen this, nothing. What is nothing? They will attack you on that, okay? If you see some kind of scratch mark, you can say scratch on every room. Brian Chen cannot spell. Okay, scratch mark on, okay? Every room, there's a east wall, west wall, north wall, or south wall. There's always 4 directions. You have to identify which room or which wall, okay? Scratch marks, okay? Scratch marks on east wall. And then you can even take a photo, okay? Take photos. And then on dining room, if you all say scuff on the dining, that means scuff marks, like from the chairs and stuff, okay? And on the dining room floor, okay? And you may say stain, you may say the window sticks. If the window sticks, cannot open all the way or something, you write down everything you have observed. In the kitchen, I will say broken kitchen counter, water stain observed, cabinet under kitchen sink. Okay. Broken floor tile. Okay. What else? That's pretty much it. Other room. If you have any other room, if you don't, type in NA. Don't just leave it blank. If you leave it blank, they'll say you didn't see it. You didn't bother to check something. So hallway. If you want to say hallway, maybe black, maybe a scratch. Okay. Bedroom number 1. You always want to identify bedroom number 1 as which bedroom. Don't just say bedroom number 1, because your bedroom number 1 may be bedroom number 3 for other people. So you just say which room it is. If it's a master bedroom, just say no visual or defect noted. Okay. Bedroom number 2 maybe is the whichever west room or something like that. Okay. And just say crack on the ceiling and smoke detector missing, and no. Okay. In the hallway, I know what I want to say. In the hallway, I also want to say there's no bedroom number 3. I want to say unfinished patching. Okay. And bathroom number 1, I want to pretend there is a master bathroom. So, okay. And no sign of water stain under sink. Why do I bring that up? Because every time you have a sink, you want to open up the cabinet to see whether or not there's signs of water stain. Okay. You should also turn on the water faucet to see whether or not any dripping or something, because that's something you can do while walking around. You don't have to climb up a ladder. You don't have to crawl underneath the house. This is visual, so you should do one. Okay. And bathroom number 2, I identify them as hallway bath. Okay. And I'll say no other room. I don't want to show it now. Let's go to finish everything that I have noticed. Please notice all these fields, I'm blank, right? I want to show you a feature later. So I want to say garage, and what is this area called? Garage and parking, correct? So it may be oil stain on concrete floor. Okay. Maybe cracks on concrete floor. Okay. Exterior of the building. What does that mean? Exterior of the building. Okay. You may also say wooden fence leaning, right? Wooden fence leaning. Okay. Or something like that. Whatever you can observe, you write it in. Okay. Now, if there's no other rooms or anything else, okay, you see over here, NA field. You click on NA field, all of the blank area is now filled up with N/A. You see that? So you don't have to physically type in all the NAs. You wait until you finish filling out the forms and you do that. But the thing is, I didn't finish filling out the forms because I'm the one who's doing it. And so you should finish filling out the form before you type in NA field, because otherwise it will fill out everything for you, okay? So if you do it this way, if you take some photos, I want to show you the add photo feature. This is something that you should start doing. You see each line right here, that's a page line. If you want to add photo to this area on this page, you want to make sure you are not here, because if you add photos, the photo will be applied to this page. So you want to go to the correct page. So no lines, no page lines, okay? And then you go to add photos, and you go to photos, you say attach photos. And then you can go to where you have the photos, AVID demo photos. Okay, crack on kitchen counter top, okay? I name my photos very descriptively. And here is what the photo looks like, and here's the name. And I say open. You see over here, crack on kitchen countertop. I no longer have to say, okay, what the photo is. And I just say, okay, attach. It's attached. Then I can move it where? Kitchen. Where's kitchen? Okay, move it here. And then I attach another photo because this kitchen was awful. Moisture damage, okay? Again, attach the third photo, cracked floor tile. Okay, so I have 3 photos I have taken. And in the west bedroom, photos, attach. I believe that was the crack on the ceiling, right? And then in the hallway bath. Oh no, I have another bedroom, bedroom number 3. There was some issue. And then hallway bath. I'm finished with my photos. Can you see it? No, you cannot see it, right? So what do? Save as PDF. You want to save your, as PDF, save to my transaction. So it is saved in my transaction. Now you go back to the forms. You see the PDF? I can show you the PDF. You see right here, you have photo 1, 2, 3, photo 4, 5, 6. There are 6 photos, right? Go to the end of the report. Photo number 1. You see that? Cracked kitchen counter. It says crack on kitchen counter. See that? Second, photo 2, moisture damage on wall under the kitchen sink. Under the kitchen sink, I open the cabinet, there's moisture damage. Moisture damage. I take a photo, show it. Photo number 3, cracked floor tile in kitchen, right here. This is the cracked photo, floor tile right in front of the kitchen sink cabinet. Okay, I noticed it, I took a photo. You see how that works? I noticed it, I take a photo. And number 4, there is a crack on the ceiling. Smoke detector is gone, it's not there. Crack on the ceiling, missing smoke detector. Okay. Above the bedroom door. Okay. In my report, I also stated no carbon monoxide alarm. When there's nothing there, are you going to take a photo of a blank or empty wall or ceiling? No, no need. You just mention, okay? You want to take photo of something that you can take photo of. Bedroom number 3, unfinished patching without painting on the wall, okay? So bedroom number 3, here it is. See that there's a small patch, no paint. Big patch, no paint. There's a door, okay? So you see, you open the door, you close the door, you look at everywhere. Sometimes you just open the door and the door hides this. If you just open the door and look inside, you will not see this. You need to walk inside to take a look. And that's what I saw. So I took photo. Unfinished patching on the east wall. This wall is the east wall in bedroom number 2. Hallway bath. Ooh, hallway bath. The shower tile wall is separating from the drywall. You ready to see that? This is the condition this property was in when I saw it. You see this bathroom shower wall? You see the drywall? Do you see the separation? You guys are seeing these screens, right? I am sharing.
Yes.
Okay, good. So you see the separation? How do you describe that? It's kind of hard. So what do? See, it's separated here. What do? Take a photo. Take a photo and show it to the client. That way, you don't have to worry about whether or not the client understands your report. It's in a photo. What more can you do? This is very good feature. And let me tell you, 90% of the agents never use this feature. That's because nobody advertised it. Nobody knew about it. I am a certified zipForm trainer, and CAR did not even train me about this feature. They didn't even, I bet you they don't even know this feature existed, but it's there. Take advantage of it. Now, think about it. How many of you have been in transactions where you say certain personal items stays? For example, maybe a clock on the wall is staying with it. Maybe a particular painting, okay? I sold a house where the living, when you open the living room, when you open the door, the front door, at the end of the entry hallway, there was a painting that looks like it's a walkway to heaven, stairway to heaven, okay? That was there, and the seller says that painting stay with the house because it gives the entry hallway an open look, make it feel very good when you open the door into a narrow entryway. At the end, there is a light display hit on it, and there's a painting, a beautiful painting, open up the entryway. So it's a nice feature. The seller did not have to leave that painting, but the seller decided to leave that painting and the buyer likes it. Okay. In the addendum, you must say whatever personal item that's staying with the property, you need to list everything. And I would suggest you do the same thing. That's try to do an addendum. Addendum number 1. That's pretend, okay? Because I don't have a good photo of anything. So that's just pretend. I will say, okay, I'll say that. One thing. Okay, whatever is furniture, maybe to a living room is part of the sale. Then you can also do the same thing. Photos, you see that? Photos. Okay, photos. I only have these kind of photos. It's not very good. Let me see if I have any other kind of photos. I didn't prepare to show you this, but anyway, photos, maybe. I'll use this. Photo number 1. Okay. And living room or something like that. Okay, so this is the same thing. You can do the same thing with the addendum, so you can attach photos. That way, when you show the addendum, you say save as PDF in my transaction. added. Okay, back. Addendum number 1. Okay, you see photo number 1. There is a photo of the painting on the end of the hallway stays. Okay, this something that you can do and eliminate potential controversy. And then you can send this addendum for people to sign. And the photo goes right with it. Photo goes right with it. And that way, when they sign and receive something, there is no controversy. You know, we have people arguing. Okay, we have people arguing and say, when I saw the house, the living room furniture was much more prettier now. This is the furniture that's now in the living room. It's very cheap furniture. People get upset, and you go to listing, you know, photo. It's not clear what kind of photo. But when you're negotiating what stays, what goes with the property, if the buyer and seller agree on something, take the photo and insert it and put it into the addendum so people can see exactly what has been agreed to transferring between buyer and seller. Okay, this, believe me, this can save you a lot of headaches at the end of the transaction, because sometimes when buyer and seller during the negotiation, everybody's in a good mood. But maybe after they agree to, maybe something happened in the transaction. For example, after physical inspection, the buyer asked for 30 items to be fixed. The seller got super upset, says, I'm not going to fix anything. And seller is upset with the buyer. Buyer is upset with the seller. They forgot at the beginning, they agreed to certain furniture to be left behind. And the seller, because the seller is now mad at the buyer, the seller say, I am not going to give them that good furniture. Okay, I go to a cheap furniture store because it just says sofa and coffee table. Okay, I'll buy one sofa and one coffee table cheap, leave it there. And then they took their, you know, $5,000 sofa and, you know, $2,000 coffee table with them, leaving them with a $300 sofa and $100 coffee table. Do you think buyer won't notice? Of course, buyer notice. Then they call up the agent and we try to negotiate, and, you know, and then by this time, the sellers will say, look what you wrote down. It says sofa and a table. I gave you a sofa and a table. People are upset. That's not the same. Well, did you specify which sofa, which table? No. But if you have a photograph, that sofa and that coffee table, you agree to stay. You sign for it. Okay, so photo is very important feature in real estate transactions. Use it. Use it to your advantage to prevent future argument. Okay, if you have photo of the furniture or the hallway painting, this is the painting we wanted. This is the painting you agreed to, not the $10 big what's a discount store, Dollar Tree painting that's, you know, $10. No, the painting that we agreed to was this painting, was this look. Okay, that way it's photo documented. It becomes part of the documents. There is no argument. Okay, so I hope this will give you this more advantage that you have, and to help you prevent future arguments. Now, let me also tell you another very important thing. Because we have the COVID, you may run into this kind of thing. Let me see. I want to create a new, no. I want to show you another form. If you are representing buyer and the buyer is a buying for rental property. They're called the investor, okay, buyer. They're not buying the property to live there for themselves. They're buying the property as an investment property. And the property has a notice of default recorded against it. A notice of default recorded against the property. And the property then is a seller home, seller's personal home, primary residence of the seller with a notice of default recorded. Please, I want to show you this form. This is a very important form. Notice of default purchase agreement. When you're making an offer on an owner-occupied property that has notice of default recorded against it, that means the bank already recorded a notice of default. That means the bank is starting to do foreclosures, okay? We're coming off COVID right now. Very soon you will start seeing the banks recording notice of default. Once the government lift up the foreclosure moratorium, all those homes that has 90 days or more late payments, they will have a notice of default recorded against it. The bank will start doing foreclosure process. I want you to take a look at this. If your buyer, okay, lives somewhere else and is buying this property, even if they're buying this property for their children to go to college, okay, because the buyer does not live in this property, you cannot use residential purchase agreement, okay? The law, there is a law protecting, okay? There is a law protecting the seller. It is called notice of default purchase agreement. It comes with different forms. For example, declaration and proof of real estate license. This is part of the notice of default purchase agreement. This is not in a regular purchase agreement. You have to make sure you use the right form and you fill it in. This is your declaration that you have a real estate license and you're representing a buyer to buy. And the buyer is an investor, okay? Okay. This is for use when an investor is making an offer to purchase an owner-occupied residential dwelling against which a notice of default has been recorded against it. You notice every word in this purchase agreement is bold, 10-point size. That is required by law. The rest of the terms are pretty similar, except one thing. Paragraph 33. This is an agreement subject to Civil Code. Civil Code 1695 gives seller the right to cancel. Notice, when in a regular purchase agreement, once a seller accepts your buyer's offer, seller cannot cancel. On this particular situation, Section 1695 through 1695.17, 17 paragraph, it gives the seller the right to cancel. If an investor buyer fail to notify, there is a fine up to $25,000 or imprisonment of no more than 1 year, or both, fine and imprisonment for the investor buyer. You see that? Paragraph 33, okay? $25,000 fine or imprisonment of no more than 1 year, or both, fine and imprisonment. This is protection under Civil Code 1695 for the seller. Seller has a cancellation right, okay? Cancellation right, a 5 business day cancellation right. Buyer's restriction, prior to expiration of the cancellation right. Buyer has many restrictions. 1, 2, 3, 4. You gotta remember, okay? You gotta remember to use this form, okay? It is called, just remember, if your buyer is an investor and the seller is living in the property, this form is called Notice of Default Purchase Agreement, okay? At the end of the form, there's a third extra form. This third extra form is the notice required by California law. You have to fill this in. For example, if the acceptance date is today, June 14th, the expiration is 5 business days. How do you calculate 5 business days? June 15th is day 1. 16, 17, 18 is day 4. 18 is a Friday. So 19 and 20 doesn't count. So 21st is the 5th day. Okay, 5 business day. Okay, and or 8 a.m. on the, okay, on what day? If 21 is the 5th business day, 22nd, June 22nd. You need to fill this out correctly and give it to the buyer. You need to sign it, you know, and give it to the seller. I'm sorry. You and the buyer need to sign it and give it to the seller. The seller has cancellation rights. In other words, if during this next 5 business day period, if the seller got a better offer or the seller changed their mind, hey, the seller can cancel with the current buyer. This is the cancellation. Notice required by California law. This is the cancellation notice. All the seller have to do is sign it and email or fax or hand deliver. Okay, so you got to remember this is the notice. So notice of cancellation is very, very important. The notice of cancellation is very, very important. That's part of the law. If your buyer violates the law and get fined $25,000, you know what else the seller can do? Within 2 years, after close of escrow, the seller can file a lawsuit and claim to return the home back to the seller. I don't know what to say. This law is really unreasonable towards investor buyer, because if an investor buyer buys the property and spend $100,000 fixing it up, okay, and rent it out, 2 years later, the seller can come back and file a lawsuit, say, you did not use the right form. You are an investor. You did not live in the property. And I had this law protection. So give back my property. Okay, you pay $550,000 for it. Here is $550,000. Give back my property. And the investor said, no, I spent another $100,000 to fix it up. I am sorry. The law requires you to cancel the transaction. My sale price was $550,000. Here is $550,000. Give back my property. That's what can happen. And your investor may have to give back the property to the seller. Okay? What if your investor fixed it up and turned around and sold the property? For example, he buy the property for $550,000, spent $100,000 fixing it up, okay? Sold it for $700,000. And when the seller served a lawsuit, so you sold my property for $700,000. Pay me the $700,000. I know you guys are probably saying, oh my gosh, you know, this is unfair. This is not fair. This is the law. The law never said it's fair, okay? During this COVID period, when the tenant doesn't pay rent, the law says, sellers, you cannot evict the tenant. I'm sorry, landlords, you cannot evict the tenant. We have a lot of landlords forced to sell the property because they can no longer make the mortgage payment because their tenants stop paying rent. We have landlords who has not collected a dime since March of last year, still not be able to collect rent from their tenant. Okay, but the law says landlords, you cannot evict the tenant. So just remember this. It is the law. The law doesn't have to be fair. The law is the law. So it is your responsibility when you represent a buyer who is an investor buyer and buying a property, a rental property, I mean, a owner-occupied property who has notice of default. They have the law on their side. They have a cancellation right, and you must use this form. If you did not use this form that explain to them their legal rights, your buyer's transaction may be nulled and void. Nulled and void, meaning what? Cancel. Give the property back. Okay, whatever you pay for, the seller will pay you. Okay, so just remember, this is something that's not covered under anything, but I think it's so important in today's market. You need to be aware. You need to be aware. Okay. Chat. Let's take a look at the chat. If there is a difference between the time to make payment between 1st and the 15th, will the bank credit buyer the difference for the interest? The bank never credits back. The bank will accumulate the credit. So if your buyer is making early payment, okay, remember, all the payment is due on the 1st of the month, the 1st. The interest calculation is calculated to the end of the previous month. So if your buyer's payment does not reach the bank on the 1st, between the 1st and the 15th, the interest continue to add up. So later on, when your buyer is selling the property, believe me, all the additional interest will add to the payoff amount. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. And so Frankie Ho, did I answer your correct question clearly? The bank will never refund the money right away. The bank will just continue to calculate in their computers. They'll add the additional interest to the amount owed by the buyer, by the borrower, okay? When you're making the payment on the 1st, you're making on-time payment. When you're making the payment on the 2nd and on, you're already late on your payment. On the 15th, on the 16th, that's where the late payment penalty is added. But if you paid it between the 1st and the 15th, you actually have additional interest that's added to your mortgage balance. Because when you're making the payment on August 14th, you have owed the bank the interest from August 1st to August 14th. Because the August 1st payment goes to pay for interest from July 1 to July 31st. That's how it works. I have pretty much finished today's class materials. If you guys have questions, I always leave some time to answer some of your questions. So let me stop share and open up for some questions and answers. If you have questions, feel free to raise your hand. I believe I can see it. Raise your hand. or let me also look on the chat. You can type in the chat. If you don't have any questions, okay, since there is not many questions right now, there isn't none. So I will go ahead and end the class. Fang?
Yes, thank you, Brian.
Okay, the class is over. Thank you very much for
Okay, thank you.
attending. Okay.
Have a good one, everybody.